Last year as a volunteer has been the most difficult year of my life. I'm here today to tell you why it has also been the best year, in the hope to encourage others to volunteer. I started volunteering at 18, first with the women's rights movement and then with a UN agency. It felt good to be a part of something bigger that was trying to make the world a better place. So instead of becoming a lawyer, I started working with UNHCR Iran. I knew immediately that this was the right call for me. When I was contacted by the UNV, it was a dream come true. I did not hesitate. I left my familiar world behind and I came to Sudan. Soon I was warned that volunteers tend to leave UNHCR because they get disillusioned. I thought arrogantly so, not me. I know the system. I will not get disencouraged. I will use this chance to make someone's world a better place, at least for the time that they spend in our office. I had a rough start. Working responsibilities and environment were different than what I expected. And turned out I was not as strong as I had thought either. So I got disillusioned about myself too. Away from my home and support system and under so much pressure, I cracked. I've struggled with anxiety and depression. It affected my health and productivity. I was afraid and ashamed of admitting it to myself or others because it felt like failure. It felt like I was the worst volunteer ever, that it was the end of the world, and I had lost hope and perspective. Those were dark days that I could not get out of without help, so I reached out. I reached out to my friends, faces in this room, to my organization for support, and my call was answered. While recovering, I thought about quitting, that maybe I was not made out for this. But then I thought coming all the way here had to mean that I had hope, and I had a commitment that I was not ready to give up on with just one blow without a fight. So I told myself, no quitting. I came back. I learned, I tried harder. I maintained a better work-life balance. I adjusted my expectations from work and myself. I became more realistic, more patient. Thanks to my manager and everyone who supported me, I produced results that I'm now proud of. Much like the UN, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. I'm challenging myself to see this time with a head start, without fear, with lessons that I have learned, how far I can take this. This story was not easy for me to share, but I did it because it's important to recognize that serving a noble cause doesn't make us superhuman or perfect, and it doesn't have to. We all struggle in our own ways. Some struggles are less common or more stigmatized than others, but they're all human. And there should be no shame and no fear in a human struggle. I want those with the same struggles as mine to know it's okay to go through. It's okay to fail sometimes and seek support. It's possible to bounce back and learn from failure and do better. That in disillusionment, vulnerability, and failure are parts of life, so they can be part of this experience too. But through them and past them, you face reality and you find strength. This year made me better, stronger, more dedicated to my cause. I learned every single day. I lived a fuller life and I made great friendships. That's what volunteerism is. It adds to you more than what you contribute to it. It makes you the change that the world needs. And that's why it has a magical domino effect. And the change it creates is sustainable because along with changing the world, it changes people. And people make the world. It's a challenge that you take on to find out, are you really who you think you are? It's a challenge where your idealism meets reality. You find out that given the chance, what would you do? How much energy would you put in? How far will you push your ideals forward? It gives you answers to all of that and the chance to recognize the privileges that you've had. A good education, a skill, a talent, time and energy, and try to extend them to others. Many of my colleagues don't see themselves as volunteers because in truth, we are the fancy privileged ones. We work for the UN, gain valuable experience, and get a generous allowance. Most volunteers do not receive anything for their work. I want to tell you about Khalda. who mentored university students in their career development through an initiative that Ali, another Sudanese volunteer, had created with his friends and his own resources. I think you should know Tomoye, a Japanese volunteer who learned Sudanese Arabic like his mother tongue and went to the villages of Kassala wearing a jalabiya, only with his notebook and his skills, and helped women turn their homemade crafts into a profitable business. These people define volunteerism without a blue room talk, an incentive, or a contract, because they have something to give and they can't think of holding back. Our volunteerism doesn't have to stop at our jobs. We can either see ourselves as underpaid professionals taking a step in our career ladder, or we can look at the privilege that we have as a reason to do more. Because our world is going through rough times, and it can get all the help that we can give. So let's ask ourselves, are we ready to take on the challenge and take it further? Are we ready to do more? If yes, let's do it. If you're not volunteering, let's start tomorrow. If you are a volunteer, let's do more. Because the truth is, all of us, always, can do more and can do better. So let's do it. Let the sky be our limit. Thank you for listening.